At exactly 6:34 a.m., the frozen coastline of Greenland's Thule region stretched beneath an Arctic sunrise, temperature holding steady at minus 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside the operations center at Thule Air Base, 750 miles north of the Arctic Circle, 3 radar technicians monitored their screens during a routine morning shift. The AN/FPS-132 early warning radar system swept the horizon in 12-second intervals, its signal reaching out 3,000 miles into the Arctic Ocean. Coffee cups sat half empty on desks. Equipment hummed. Everything appeared normal. But 40 feet below their station, in a classified briefing room, analysts were presenting satellite imagery that would change America's Arctic defense strategy within 72 hours. The ice was gone. The data was undeniable. Greenland's northwestern ice sheet had receded 89 nautical miles beyond its historical minimum. Sea ice that had formed an impenetrable barrier for 6,000 years now showed open water channels wide enough for surface vessels. NASA's IceSat-2 satellite measured ice thickness at just 6.8 feet in areas that previously measured 23 feet. The strategic implication hit immediately. Russia's northern fleet, based at Severomorsk, now had direct sea access to Greenland's southern coastline, a distance of just 1,680 miles, well within the 1,550-mile range of the Zircon hypersonic anti-ship missile. For 60 years, Greenland's ice had been America's shield. The island's position between North America and Europe made it critical. Thule Air Base hosted the 12th Space Warning Squadron, tracking every missile launch toward the United States. The base's location, just 947 miles from the North Pole, gave early warning coverage that couldn't be replicated anywhere else. But the defensive calculations had always assumed one thing: ice would block enemy surface vessels from approaching Greenland's vulnerable western coast. That assumption died on a Tuesday morning. Within 18 hours, Northern Command initiated Operation Arctic Sentinel. The mission established persistent surveillance along Greenland's newly exposed coastline before adversaries could exploit the opening. The challenge was massive. The newly accessible areas added 2,100 miles of vulnerable waterfront. Traditional ship patrols would require 40 vessels operating continuously. The U.S. Navy had other commitments. They needed a different approach. The solution? The MQ-9B Sea Guardian, a maritime variant of the Reaper drone. Each aircraft cost $32 million, carried a payload of 5,700 pounds, and could remain airborne for 35 hours straight. Its AN/ZPY-3 radar could detect surface vessels at ranges exceeding 200 nautical miles. 4 AGM-114 Hellfire missiles hung under each wing, precision-guided weapons with a range of 5 miles and a warhead weighing 20 pounds. A single Sea Guardian could monitor 40,000 square miles of ocean during one mission. The Pentagon authorized immediate deployment. 5 Sea Guardians from Naval Air Station Jacksonville received orders on Thursday. By Saturday morning, all 5 aircraft sat on the tarmac at Thule. Each drone carried 4 Hellfire missiles, 2 Mark 54 torpedoes, and 87 sonobuoys for submarine detection. The total weapons payload, 4,200 pounds of precision strike capability, all controlled by operators sitting 2,847 miles away in Nevada. The first patrol launched at 11:17 a.m. on Sunday. The Sea Guardian, call sign Phantom 1, climbed to 28,000 feet and turned northwest. The pilot, seated in Nevada with a joystick and 4 display screens, throttled the aircraft to 240 knots. The mission clock started. 35 hours of patrol time ahead. At hour 6, the radar detected something. A surface contact bearing 347 degrees, range 187 nautical miles. The Sea Guardian altered course, range decreased. 187 miles, then 154, then 98. At 47 miles, the electro-optical camera locked on. The vessel came into focus. The Mikhail Somov, a Russian-flagged cargo ship displacing 9,800 tons, registered as an oceanographic research vessel. It was moving south at 14 knots, its deck loaded with cargo containers. But the thermal imaging told a different story. 2 containers showed heat signatures inconsistent with standard cargo. Surface temperature, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, far too warm for equipment storage in Arctic conditions. Intelligence analysts cross-referenced the vessel against classified databases. The Mikhail Somov had a history. In 2019, it had been photographed near undersea cable routes in the North Atlantic. In 2022, Norwegian intelligence tracked it near Svalbard. The ship was a spy platform now probing Greenland's newly accessible waters. The Sea Guardian held position at 28,000 feet, 12 miles away. The crew activated signals intelligence. Within minutes, they intercepted encrypted transmissions between the ship and Murmansk. The Mikhail Somov was mapping the coastline, recording depth measurements, cataloging potential landing sites, reconnaissance for future operations. Northern Command made the decision in 8 minutes. Shadow the vessel, document everything. Prepare for interdiction if it approached within 12 nautical miles of shore, the internationally recognized territorial limit. For 6 hours, the Sea Guardian maintained its orbit. Then the ship altered heading. It turned west, directly toward the coastline. Range to shore, 34 miles, then 28, then 19. The Sea Guardian descended to 15,000 feet. Weapons systems came online. The targeting pod locked Hellfire missiles onto the ship's bridge and engine room. Range to shore, 16 miles, 14, Shusan. At 12.1 nautical miles from Greenland's coast, the Sea Guardian's crew transmitted a warning on international maritime frequencies. You are approaching restricted waters. Alter course immediately or face defensive action. The Mikhail Somov's response came 40 seconds later. The ship reduced speed to 4 knots but maintained its heading. Range to shore, 12.3 miles, 12.1, 11.9. Northern Command authorized weapons release. The first Hellfire missile dropped from the Sea Guardian's wing at exactly 2:41 p.m. The laser guidance system tracked the ship's engine compartment. Flight time, 38 seconds. The 20-pound warhead struck the stern just above the waterline, penetrating before detonating. The explosion disabled primary propulsion. A second missile followed 12 seconds later, targeting the rudder assembly. The ship lost steering. Dead in the water, the Mikhail Somov began transmitting distress calls. No casualties, the strikes were surgical, but the message was unmistakable. Greenland's newly accessible waters were now actively defended. Within 48 hours, Russian naval activity near Greenland dropped by 87%. 5 additional Sea Guardians deployed to Thule. Norway and Denmark committed maritime patrol aircraft to joint operations. This operation marked a turning point. As Arctic ice continues receding, strategic waterways that were impassable for millennia now lie open. The United States demonstrated that it would defend these approaches with unmanned systems capable of operating in conditions where human crews would struggle. The Sea Guardian patrols continue today, 24 hours a day, watching the ice melt and ensuring that what climate change exposes, American technology protects.